Good day, everyone. My name is Dr. Toyin Ajayi-Osakwe, and I bring to you Prime Parents, a product of Foundation for Family Information, an NGO that is saddled with the responsibility to help the present day parents in raising their 21st century child. If this is the very first time you are coming across my channel on YouTube, I would like you to like this video, share it, and also subscribe. Now, I want to quickly drop some things that I want you to relate with as you listen to me. I want to give a definition of who is a parent. You know, people just come and say that I've had a child, I've given back to a child, and a lot of the time we have problems people raising these children. So we want to understand first who is a parent. If you understand what it means to be a parent, then probably your attitude and your approach to this subject may begin to change. A parent is someone who is privileged to have a child or children, namely for the purpose of proper upbringing. This is very vital. If the main reason why you are raising that child or why you have that child is not for you to raise that child well, then it's likely you are not a parent. There are a lot of people who have given birth today. Anybody can be a mother, anybody can be a father. But to actually be a parent, there must be something at the back of your mind, and that is you raising that child well. Now, I want to talk about what is parenting. There's one thing to be a parent, then there is another thing to do parenting as a career and as a skill. What is parenting? I said parenting is God's own mandate, and by nature it is hereditary. It may not necessarily include the ability to reproduce biologically, but the focus must be on training, refining, and raising a better and a stronger breed that is intellectually, spiritually, and morally sound. All that put together is what we refer to as parenting. Now, let me break it down a little for you. Parenting, being God's mandate, simply means there is a seed in us that we possess, that we carry when we were made. When a male child is born, it carries a seed in himself. When a female child is born, it carries a seed in himself. You understand? That is what we mean by the child. That's what we mean by God's mandate. The seed is actually meant for such individual to possess that characteristics that will enable him to reproduce. So when God made the first man, which we all know as Adam, He put a seed in him. The seed has the capacity to reproduce itself. So God will not need to come back and create another. So some of us who read the Bible and those of us who read the Quran, because I'm speaking to a general public now, in both books it is documented there that even when He created the trees, the animals, and everything, He said He made them so that they can reproduce according to their kind. Simply means that he put a seed in them, he left a seed in them. Those seeds carry the potential, the capability to reproduce itself, and then it goes from one generation to another. That is what I mean by being God's mandate. Now, when I said it is hereditary, I've also explained that once you are able to give birth to a child, that child will give birth to his own child, and then it continues from generation to generation. So that is naturally enough. But in terms of parenting, there are those who may not, for whatever reason, they may not have been able to reproduce. They may not be biologically sound enough to reproduce. We have women who are born without womb, congenital malformation. We have men who may not even have, who have azoospermia. Simply means they don't have the sperm of a man, that is the seed of the man. Some maybe probably due to accidents. Some are born like that congenitally. For whatever reason, they are sterile. They cannot reproduce. But such individuals can adopt children, and when they adopt, they can still become parents and they can still practice parenting. So that is what comes to that point where we're saying the focus must be training, refining, and raising another breed that is better than yourself. So you have it at the back of your mind that this child you are raising should be better than you. That child will produce somebody that is also better than he or she. And putting everything in its perspective, I said they should be intellectually, which is relevant to this time, to their environment, to their society. They should be sound spiritually, because we are all spiritual beings. And when it comes to moral soundness, these are three areas where a child should be trained. Those are areas of discipline every soul born under the sun should engage. And when you are strong in these areas, you discover that obviously you are not just a blessing to yourself, you are also a blessing to your generation. So this is the what I call the initial introduction. I'll go on a short break, but when I return, I will now need to talk to us about the facts of parenting and the facts about a child. Just hold on and watch. Okay, you are welcome back. Now, for some of you who may want to reach me for counseling, for school presentation, or your local assembly, maybe you have a particular topic you want me to come and discuss, you can WhatsApp me on the number shown on the screen. Okay, and don't forget to like this video and also to click the the notification button to subscribe, and you will also share this video. Now, I said I want to talk to us about facts about parenting. The first thing is that it's a decision and it's a choice. It's a decision and it's a choice. To be a father may not be a decision sometimes. Okay, we have seen young men over familiarity, friendship with a girl, you know, he just got himself involved, and then the girl got pregnant. Then by the time he comes back and say like, look, oh, this is what is happening. And it's like, look, we'll just go and take it out, just take care of it. I'm not interested. So at that point, he's a father, but he's not ready to be a parent. Same thing happens to the young women also. The ones they call unwanted pregnancy. But when it comes to parenting, it got to be a choice. You don't just, sleep over into it. You don't just wake up and then you find children around you. We are saying this for the sake of this present generation, so that you don't just lock yourself up into issues that you least prepared, that may hamper so many things about your life. You see a young woman got pregnant and they said that you can't go to school again. Some will say, okay, they want to combine it. And then everybody who ought not to have been concerned will be involved. Plans, aspirations, dreams are being shattered because something unexpectedly has happened. So understand this, that for you who want to venture into what we call parenting, it got to end your decision, and you have to make a definite decision, which is what we call a choice. Okay? So always bear that at the mind of your mind, at the back of your mind. The second point I have is that it can never be by correspondence. Child's neglect is a crime against humanity. What I mean here is that you cannot be away from where your child is being raised. Today, you see grandparents and now the ones, standing in for so many reasons. We have people who have children, they don't have a job. The father have to, travel somewhere. The mother have to also be in another place. This child is with grandma or with grandpa, and then you they need to get across to you if they need anything. It's not the best way to live. And by study, such children have known not to turn out very well. So that's why I said it shouldn't be by correspondence. You cannot be in Kano and your child is in Oshobo or is in Baesa, and you have to begin to relate everything they need. You need to talk, they need to call you, you understand? It's not a pleasant way to raise children. And a lot of things will go amiss during such process, especially in those early days, in the formative years of the child. When you do this, it doesn't really turn out well. The next point I have is, in parenting, your best attempt may not necessarily yield the finest results. That is just the truth. It's hard, but that is it. Because parenting can give you daunting challenges that can stretch you beyond your abilities. So that takes us back to the first. It's a choice and it's a decision. Once you have that at the back of your mind, then whatever and wherever it takes you, you will be ready to go all the lengths. Now, depending on the information you are consuming and the pattern of approach and your methodology and techniques, also very, very important. Because if these things do not align and probably you are not really in tune with the spec of that child, because every child is a spec, you must understand that child. You must understand the kind of a being that child is. Each of them, if you have 2, 3, 4, each is also different from another. So you just see a parent running all over the place, and then at the end of the day, it's like, I've done everything. What else could I have done? I give when I'm supposed to give. I spend when I'm supposed to spend. I was there. I did this. I did that. Yet, this is what I got. It's usually very painful. But the point remains the fact that how have you been approaching each of them? What is your mode of application? How do you address issues at every particular point in time? So you see that this self-parenting thing is becoming what we call social science. It's not just automatic. It is not natural. It is not natural. That's just the truth. To conceive and give birth to a child could be natural, but when it comes to parenting, there's nothing natural about it. You have to be deliberate. That is what we call intentional parenting. Now, the next point I have is you parent your child better than anyone else. I hope I'm communicating at this level. You parent your child better at this period in our national, situation where there's so much crisis on standard of living, feeding, accommodation, giving education, and other things. We see parents now hand out their children to other people to care for them, and we see the results. While there are some who have those abilities, who work under such grace, who can take care of other people's children like theirs, there are millions who do not possess that ability, who could not and did not, and they will not. When your child found him or herself in the doorstep of homes of such, it doesn't usually bring out the best. You see a man give his daughter to his younger brother. There's one of my mates when we were at school those days. The father gave her to the younger brother, so that's an uncle. And every night he violates this girl, up to the point that she has to run away after some time. Some take a very terrible advantage of these children. It also takes us back to the first. When you are not ready, don't get involved. You must know how many you can take care of. You must know what your capabilities are financially before you said, I want to produce. These things are very, very key when it comes to raising children. The last point I have here is the best place for every child to thrive maximally for realization of full potential is home. Create a home we have a topic where I discuss the home as an atmosphere that is deliberately created and regulated. It doesn't have to be a mansion. We have seen people raised on the streets where an home atmosphere was created, and they turn out to be fantastic individuals. So create such an environment where children can thrive and live and become real human, where their humanity is expressed without hindrance. Okay, now to end this video, I want to talk about facts about the child. There's something about these children that we must also get to know, but I will do that shortly after this break. All right, you are welcome back. Now, I want to talk to us about facts about the child. You see, children, when you go to the maternity ward, you see babies are born. Do you know how many babies are born per day around the world? Even in our local environment here, you see babies are dropping almost every minute. Each of these babies that are dropped, there's something peculiar about each of them that you must understand. As a parent, once your bundle of joy is delivered to you, the first thing is to examine the child and look at the child if it's a complete child. Okay, we were told that when Moses was born and they examined him, we were told in the documentation that he was a proper child. There was no any form of malformation in that child. It's very, very important that you, as a parent, you examine your child. Now, to be more critical now is, first, you must understand that every child is born delinquent. Delinquenting means that in them, there's really nothing refined. When you give birth to a child and you dump the child on a spot, that is where you are going to find him. He can't eat by himself. He can't wear clothes by himself. If he poo, he can't clean himself. He can only cry when he needs food. He cannot even speak. He can't think out of his own mind. You can see what is being delivered to you. And you must understand that naturally, humans will tend towards negativity more than being positive. And that is why in human society, there is government, there is law, even God himself gave laws. Because without the law, it will be a very terrible place to be around here. So you see a child who just wants everything for himself and for himself alone. Is at the level where what the psychologist calls id. It's a level of mind development. We have id, we have ego, we have super ego. At id, it is me, myself, and I. At ego, it's about okay, let's compete it. Let's compete for it. So I will come, I fight for myself, then you will also fight for your own. At super ego is when someone comes and says, well, you want it, take. There was a picture of a video I saw recently of two babies, because at that time it begins to change my orientation about this idea of id, super ego and super ego when it comes to this maturity in psychology. So they were twins. Okay, they were Asian twins. A pieces of cake was placed in a plate before them. They had two in one and none in the other, and they placed it before these two young children. They were boys. As of the time they opened it, the one with two willingly hand out one, put it into the plate of the other that does not have, and then they both ate and they were smiling. Then their mother repeated the experiment again. He brought another, but this time around he now gave two to the one that had none initially. And guess what? The one with two this time around refused, and as of the time the one with none decided to take one from his plate, he started crying, and he cried so bitterly. And that sends a lot of message for what we have become as humans. At Eid, every human tried at Eid, they are usually very terrible. That means they never leave that level of baby, of childishness. That baby that and that one, to a large extent, to what we have categorized over time, is abnormal. You don't even expect him. Or probably it's just spontaneous. But normally, the other one that is selfish is the normal. And that is why you now train them. You begin to shape them. You begin to speak to them, telling them this is how life should be. So, as I said, every child born delinquent. So you must be ready for that. And you must acquire enough knowledge to change that status quo. Now, every child has the ability and the potential to learn and to turn out well, except in the case of mental retardation. You know, the brain is the engine that coordinates all. When the brain is not optimal, then it's not likely such a child will function maximally. But in absence of that, every child has that capability to be able to learn. Okay? Ability to learn and to turn out well when they respond, when they are properly managed. And that is why in this foundation, all what we call the major subject we deal with here is what we call child management and development. Generally, human beings are meant to be managed. You wonder why they said because one general manager, because one medical director, or somebody has to direct something, somebody has to manage something. Generally, the religions we find ourselves today, everything simply revolves around managing people. So, every child, when well managed, will turn out well. So when you see deviants, miscreants, out there, know fully well that such situation is as a result of mismanagement. Just like how people can mismanage the resources of a company or the resources of a country. So that is the way it is. Another point I have here is that no child is a model. These are facts. There is a topic I discussed sometimes ago or in a particular video, where I was talking about behavioral traits of children, where what you see sometimes may not actually be the complete package of a child. For instance, now there are some children that are talented in a particular area, and because this child is exhibiting these talents, a parent may be carried away and begins to use the successes that child records in that area as a yardstick to measure others. It is wrong, and it will boomerang. It will come back with things that will eventually bite, and it will bite badly. Because every child has their area of strength and area of weaknesses. So you do not go celebrating one over others. That's where this statement comes, saying there is no child is a model. No child is a model. There were those days when we were in secondary school. Some of us did well, as in classrooms. Eventually, some of us that did well in classroom in secondary school did not even end up in the higher institution. While some who managed to come out end up in higher institution, they are on the streets today. We discover that even those who are grade E when we are in high institutions are the ones now making the hits now, while the egghead, those ones who really have the book, are struggling. You can see the way it is. No child is a model. Treat each one of them as a specimen that is a work in progress. Every child should be allowed to be a child. This is very, very powerful because of the 21st century trends. These are the days where we see parents who rush their children into adulthood, especially when you want to magnify those areas of strength. A child that is academically sound, you started going to schools, bribing teachers for double promotion at very tender age. Just rush them, and by 16, your child is almost finishing first degree. The point remains that he's still a child. He's still reasoning as a child. He will not be able to compete completely with adult life. And we have seen several damages this has done to many children. Those of them who are talented in one area or the other, and then this thing blew them into stardom. And then the life of this child, his childhood was completely cut off. And they begin to struggle. There's one notable, celebrity who fall into this category, Michael Jackson. He was completely robbed of his childhood. And we could see the struggle. Even he became the most celebrated of his kind, the most successful that has ever lived in that industry. Yet this man struggled through life before he passed. Allowed them to go through the ranks. Let them go through the process. Let them be who they should be. Finally, all children are not the same. Skillful parents must admit this and then strive to discover and incorporate differences. I mentioned this before. You have to study each of these children specifically to know who is A, who is B, who is C. What does A does better than B? What will B do better than C? And what will C be prevented from doing so that they may be able to succeed like A and B? These are the works of what parents should determine to do. And then at this point, I'll be drawing the curtain. And as I said before, if you need counseling, you need how to speak in your schools, on your local assembly, talking about churches and mosques, and trade unions, wherever you feel that we could impart this knowledge to parents, you can reach me on WhatsApp on the number on the screen. And please subscribe, share this video, and let it go viral. My name is Dr. Toyin Ajayi-Osakwe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.